and thank you for joining me in celebrating my Bar Mitzvah. When I was in third grade, I began studying Mishnah. I continued with the goal of completing the entire Shas Mishnah before my Bar Mitzvah. About a year and a half ago, I joined daily Daf Yomi studies and realized I should finish the tractate of Gittin before my Bar Mitzvah. I decided my speech would be connected to the last Mishnah and the Mishnayot, to the tractate Gittin, to my Bar Mitzvah portion, and of course to the Bar Mitzvah itself. Thankfully, I have my dad who is good at connecting a lot of different things. While studying the end of the Mishnah and Gittin with my dad, we saw a strong connection among all these things. Let's begin with the Mishnah. The final lines of the Mishnah in Tractate Uksin are: Rabbi Shimon ben Chalafta says, Hashem found no vessels that holds a blessing for Israel other than peace. As it is said, Hashem oz le'amoiten, Hashem yivarech et amo b'shalom. The Lord will give oz, strength to his people. The Lord will bless his people with peace. The Tosfot Yom Tov explains that oz means power, and peace gives us strength. If we have peace, then we will have strength. Peace here refers to harmony between people and also between Israel and Hashem. The concluding lines of Tractate Gittin also talk about peace or the lack of peace. Rabbi Elazar says that whoever divorces his wife, it's as if the Mizbeach, the altar, sheds tears over him. The Maharal explained that the altar is the link between Hashem and Israel. Tears express loss, signifying that there is some damage to the connection between Israel and God. When the bond between a man and a woman is disconnected through divorce, it's also a partial disconnection with Hashem. Therefore, tears fall from the altar. The connection to Hashem is damaged when there is no peace among us. On the other hand, when there is peace among us, the altar seems to rejoice. The Mizbeach, the altar, is also mentioned in my weekly Torah portion, Kitavo. In this portion, there are instructions for the commandment of first fruit. Anyone who had a field will bring the first fruits to Jerusalem. The bringers of first fruits would ascend joyfully with songs and dances, and they would place the first fruits before, you guessed it, the altar. Later in the portion, there's a special altar constructed on Mount Ebal. There's an instruction not to build this altar using iron. Iron is used for weapons and shortens human life. This altar is meant to be an altar of peace, something that connects us and extends our life. Therefore, building it with iron is prohibited. The stones of the altar should be whole stones, not stones that are iron. The third connecting the Mishnah, the Gemara, the Torah portion, and my Bar Mitzvah is peace. Peace gives us strength, power, and not only human relationships, it also draws us closer to Hashem. Bar Mitzvah is a time when I assume responsibility and become part of the adult community. So even if I can bring world peace, at least not right now, maybe I'll have to wait a month or so, but Bar Mitzvah is definitely a point of responsibility. I understand that I'm also responsible. I'm responsible for my studies, for building my altar, and for my part in promoting peace. Completing Torah learning without gratitude is almost impossible, especially when someone else wrote this text. So first and foremost, I want to thank my parents for bringing me this far. I thank you all for all the effort you've invested in me over the past 13 years, and especially leading up to my Bar Mitzvah. I'm thankful to Saba David, who taught me the Torah portion, to my grandparents and great-grandparents on both sides, whom it's always fun to visit. I am grateful to my older sister, who for some reason still refuses to accept a bowl of lentil stew from me. Despite that, I love you. Thanks for the album you made for my Bar Mitzvah. Thanks to my younger siblings, who because of them, I get to quote the halacha about honoring older siblings. I always enjoy playing with you, especially when I'm not reading. I would also like to thank Elad Shapira from Kadima, who was my first chavuta for Mishnah, and Mike Stein from Memphis, who inspired me to join the daily learning of Gemara and taught me for a few months. Finally, I want to share a personal experience from studying Mishnah. When I started learning Mishnah, I began with my dad, and later with friends in Israel. When the pandemic started, I mainly learned on my own. I studied most of Shas Mishnah without the chavuta, with the Kahati commentary. The main thing I learned throughout this process is that we have time, a lot of time. If something is important to us, we can find time for it. The second thing I learned is that we are capable. Shas Mishnah sounds like a lot. Even a tractate of Gemara sounds challenging. But if we learn a little every day, we can achieve great things. I wish more myself to continue studying Torah with motivation and aiming high.